Good evening, Amy. Oh, yeah. All the exciting stuff. What's your? She's gone. She's back. Tell, what's your relationship to Earl? He's your dad. He's an awesome guy.
Come forward, please. I'm so sorry. You this one, like before this.
Oh, I know, I picked up on that.
Did you?
Sorry.
I'm like, I was fine.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm-
No, I was just ahead of you.
We were up there, yeah.
Oh, that's last night.
Thank you. I enjoyed that so much. It, the way it was written, it was just, you felt like you're on a field trip. You know, you were right there.
Okay, everybody, meeting is now in session. Board members, please take your seats. Thank you very much. Okay, do we have any conflicts by board members on anything on the agenda tonight? Hearing none, we'll continue moving on. We have a vacant seat in Kawailoa, that's sub-district 4. Do we have anybody who's interested in taking that seat? Yes, please come to the front. You live in Kawailoa? Oh, no, this is over further down. Thank you, sir. Thank you, though, for offering. Okay, I don't see anybody. Moving right along. City monthly reports. Honolulu Fire Department. First, before we do, I want to give a big shout out to Blake McElhaney. Blake got promoted. So I just wanted to make sure that we recognize that achievement. Blake has been doing great work, I understand, down at the headquarters. So thank you for your service. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dustin from the Waialua Fire Station. Tonight, I'll be reading the incident statistics for January 2026. So fires, we have 2 nuisance fires, activated alarms 1. Emergencies, medical, we have 50, motor vehicle crash and collision 3. The fire safety tip for February 2026 is the Honolulu Fire Department reminds the public to call 911 first if you have an emergency. Do not drive to a fire station nearest your location. It is very possible that the fire company will not be at the fire station due to responding to other emergencies or performing other duties such as fire inspections, training, and educational activities. When you call 911, the operator will dispatch the closest available fire company to your emergency. Remember when calling 911 to give the operator your initial need, police, fire, EMS, and after you've been transferred to the appropriate agency, an accurate description of your need and your address or location. The HFD is also able to field 911 text messages. If you find yourself in a spot where you do not have your good reception for voice communications, example, hiking, text your emergency to 911. Okay, that's it. Any
Okay.
questions?
Thank you. Any questions for HFD, board members, community? Okay, thank you. Thank you
Great.
very much for
Thank
coming
you.
tonight. Appreciate it. Next up, HPD. Nice to see you, Scott. Thank you for coming.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Scott Vieira. I work out of the Wahiawa Station. I'm the night watch commander, excuse me, which covers the hours from 6 p.m. to 7:30 in the morning. I'll go ahead and read the stats for the month. There were 4 assaults, 2 robberies, 0 burglaries, 7 UEMVs or unauthorized entry into motor vehicles, basically someone breaking into your vehicle. There were a total of 37 motor vehicle collisions. As far as citations, there were 6 criminal citations issued, 57 parking, and traffic violations 217. Total calls for service for the month was 809. I'll go with the safety tip for the month. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. So if you guys have teens, work with teens, or are a teen, these are some signs to look for, or some things that people in this situation unfortunately may be subjected to. Physical threats or violence, unwanted sexual pressure, explosive anger, property damage, controlling behavior, isolation tactics, excessive monitoring, jealousy, and security. For more information, you can visit honolulupd.org. There's some handouts there. And you can also call the Domestic Violence Action Center, 531-3771. That's all I have.
All right. Any questions for, yes, Amy? Yeah, go ahead. You make a comment.
Thank you. Is this on? Public school teachers are being asked starting next year to start teaching sexual violence prevention, starting in grade kindergarten. I believe it will go all the way to 12th grade if there aren't already courses in that nature for the high school. But thank you for making that safety tip. It takes a village, it takes the whole community. Number one teacher are the parents. So talk to your kids.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Any other questions? Anybody from the community for HPD? Okay, thank you so much. Nice to see you,
You're too
Scott.
nice,
Take
too
care.
nice this month. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye. Oh, whoa.
Good evening.
Pull the mic up.
Okay.
So you don't have to do it bent over. Okay.
Thank you.
And identify yourself, please.
I'm Lieutenant Jesse King, work in the District 3 district, North Shore operations. Our district spans from Kayana Point to Kaneohe Bay, so we have a large area to cover. The stats I have for this past month, approximately we have in beach attendance over 238,000 at our guarded beaches. That's not in considering all the beaches without towers. Violations, whether it be some kind of rule, regulation on the beach or a law, 66 violations. Preventative actions made by our guards at these guarded beaches is over 87,000. Minor first aids that we did were 1,841. Public contacts over 50,000. Rescues at our guarded beaches were approximately 31. First aid reports that were made were 13 and 0 drownings.
Okay, anything else?
If you guys ever come across people there looking for recommendations on where to go, always recommend that they go to beaches where we have towers. As you all know, this time of year, it's volatile, lots of hazardous conditions, large swells. Education is our first line of defense in preventing bad things from happening on our coastline. So please recommend going to guarded beaches.
Thank you, appreciate that. That's a great safety tip. Yes, Charlene.
Hi, how are you? I was just wondering if you had any update on the possible tower at Sharks Cove.
I know it's in the works. It's definitely upper management's wheelhouse. So I'm not going to
I
speak.
see
to
upper management in the corner over there.
Please.
Come on, Adam, come on up.
I was hoping Jesse came around the corner and he did, but I'm still up here. Aloha, everybody. Assistant Chief Lerner with Ocean Safety. I can update the Sharks Cove Tower we had. I know we've been talking about doing it. We cleared out some trees and brush over there. Our intent is still to do it. We had a little hiccup with the contractor, and basically the contract that we had written with them had to be rewritten, and we just did that like 3 days ago. So I would anticipate that's our number one top goal after talking to Chief Logger, and I think we're gonna get it done hopefully within the next 5 weeks. So we'll get it there. We might have to do a little more, talk to Parks, whoever's there. We need to trim some more trees, but yeah, that's our goal. We've been planning on doing it. Took a little more time, like anything does in the city, but that should happen within the next 5 weeks. I'm very, very hopeful. And I'm
Thank you, great
confident.
news,
Yeah,
excellent, thank
Yeah,
you.
no problem.
Any other questions for ocean safety, community? Okay, thank you, Jesse, for
Thank
coming
you.
tonight, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, Border Water Supply. Okay, first of all, I am so sorry about the main break at Tutu Place. I apologize. I'm not personally responsible, but I do know it's a terrible inconvenience. Will let you all know that because of the paving that DOT did, which is a great thing, But when they pave, they tend to thing over and then come back and uncover all the valves. We're trying to find the valves. We have 2 pipes in that road, an 8-inch and a 16-inch. So we don't know which pipe is leaking yet until we're able to locate the valves. Now we have a GIS map. We do all the things we need to do, but it's dark and they're out there with a jackhammer, not an ideal situation. So I do apologize in advance. But thank you, board members that I contacted for getting down here early. I didn't want you to miss anything important. So last month we did have, in the month of January, had 3 main breaks. They were all 4-inch main breaks. One was at Kamehameha opposite Kawailoa Drive. Another one was at 66862 Kamehameha Haleiwa, and another one at 61727 Kamehameha Haleiwa. And just to let everybody know, we are winding up this week our entries for our poster and poetry contests, which have both been going for close to 50 years for the poster and about almost 20 years for the poetry contest. So yeah, it's a good thing we do. Any questions for me? Yes, Blake.
Thank you very much. This is just more trying to remember, because I feel like there was a time period where the community was expressing concerns about, it looked like there was road work and then Board of Water Supply work. This was maybe 5 to 10 years ago, that rough timeline. And it feels like where the break or possible break is kind of where some of that work had ended during that prior iteration. And I remember some conversations where everyone was saying, oh, it'd be great if BWS and DOT got all their work schedules in order. So I'm sure that is the case now. I was just hoping for like a little refresher on that time period where the work stopped, then it got restarted. And I think you guys are in better coordination now.
So the deal is, we stopped the work, I think, on the Sunset side of Waimea back when we did it a number of years ago, about 10 years, more than 10 years ago now. Funny that you should I brought it with me tonight because I asked, because I figured somebody would bring it up. We do have 2 projects, one in the Pupukea Road vicinity coming up, but it's not even slated until fiscal year 2028, if it happens at that time. And as Adam pointed out, things move slowly at the city. And then the next one, which would bring it all the way into Haleiwa, parts 1 and 2, we're not even looking at that until fiscal year 30. So it's going to be a long time out, but yes, I do hear you. We do try to coordinate as much as we humanly can. So that's one of the reasons why we're not going to be ripping up anything anytime soon, because out of consideration for the work that DOT does. But everyone does the best they can. It's just the timing of these projects isn't always ideal. But great question, Blake. Thanks for bringing that up. Any other questions? Community, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to residents' concerns. Please come to the front, identify yourself or your organization. You will have 2 minutes. We do time you. Thank you very much.
Hi, Barb Lupo. I just have been noticing coming down Kamehameha Highway where all those beautiful Norfolk pines are, a lot of them seem to be trying to die, and counted at least maybe 10 of them that look like maybe they should be addressed sooner than later. I just hate to see that they maybe die and fall on a vehicle. So I don't know if the board could maybe write a letter to the landowner or contact them to see if there's anything they could do ahead of time.
We'll check in with DOT and then we'll find out who owns those. Please go ahead.
Hello, I'm Christopher Salas from Hawaii Bicycling League. We're doing our, thank you, our annual Haleiwa Metric Century coming up on April 26th. Starts and ends at Kayaka Bay Beach Park. Yeah, and we also are going to be doing 2 new events on May 10th, which is also Mother's Day. We didn't plan it out that well, but there'll be a bike race on Farrington Highway. And then afterwards, we're going to do a family fun event at right at this park right here, the Waialua District Park. From the bike race is at 7 a.m. and it'll be over by 8:30. And then the family fun event is from 9 to 1.
Please be sure to send me information. I'll make sure it gets circulated.
Sure, yeah.
Great, thanks,
I'll do that
Chris.
tonight.
Great
Thank
to
you.
see you. Thank
Thank you.
you. Linnell.
So in celebration this year for World Water Day, there will be a march from Ala Moana Beach Park to Kapiolani Beach Park. So there will be many organizations, Choke families from Kupuna to Keiki. So I'll get the details out to Kathleen and she will share it with everyone else.
Yeah,
And then
Malia-
everyone else can share it.
Malia actually sent me the poster already, so I can circulate it. So,
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, thank you.
It's really a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thanks, Linnell. Michelle.
Good evening, everyone. Michelle Casimiro for Waialua High and Intermediate School Student Activities Coordinator. Just reporting for the month of February and March. We've just begun campaigning for elections season. We've also started prom ticket sales. And again, our prom will be at Ko'olau Ballroom on Friday, April 17th. So that's important because Friday is a school day when we have our prom. Therefore, we will be swapping our Wednesday and our Friday schedule so that Wednesday will be the long day and Friday will be the short day. Juniors just took their ACT test today, and for tomorrow, we'll be having a fun after-school event called our Faculty Face-Off. Every class in the faculty will have their own team competing against each other in pickleball and volleyball. Faculty won last year, so. For March, of course, our third quarter ends on March 13th, and the day after, we'll have our spring surf sample sale, surf sample and craft fair the next day, March 14th, on our front lawn from 9 to 1 p.m. Upon return from spring break, we will continue preparing for our prom, our May 1st May Day. Yes, we have May Day this year, and graduation. But I'll provide more details for those particular events at our next North Shore board meeting. Okay?
Thanks,
Thank you.
Michelle. Appreciate
you.
it. Brandon.
Aloha kako. I'm Brandon Kennard, and tonight I'm representing HAPA. I also have vested interest through Hawaii Farmers Union as the North Shore Board Vice President. I'm a farmer in Kamananui, Alapua'a. Tonight, we want to bring to you the presentation or information that I handed out on restricted use pesticides. We've gone through as HAPA and got UIPA on the 2019, 2020, and 21 restricted use pesticide data, and we've made that available through Safe Farms, safefood.com. So if you're interested in seeing more information after tonight, you can check out that website. And I wanted to bring to attention a few of the bills that are coming up. This Thursday, we have a hearing for SB 2103, which is a CPN hearing, which relates to buffer zones. And we also wanted to acknowledge HB 1880, introduced by Rep. Quinlan to ban T-loan, and two other bills that are still in the running, SB 2100 and SB 2333. And all of them have until the 6th of March to be heard and filed by their last committees. And on the packets that we've handed out, there's schools within your districts that are in the buffer zones for restricted use pesticides. So just for your awareness, if you wanted to see which schools were potentially affected, and if you'd like to receive more information, please follow up. You can contact me, Brandon at hapa.high.org, and I'll give you the email address. And we can come back and give a longer, full-length presentation with potentially Annie or Fern, who've done more in-depth research on the restricted use pesticides data informations.
Thank you, Brandon.
you.
Appreciate the information. Thank you. Next up.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Edwin. I'm one of the co-founders of Ho'omaluhia Horse Rescue right up the road. We're located right in front of the North Shore Stables. And no, we're not tied with them in any way. Just wanted to let you guys know that. But yeah, I'm free to talk after if you guys have any questions. Yeah, I just wanted to introduce myself.
Thank you so much for coming, Edwin. Appreciate it. Sir.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Thomas. My name is Thomas. I live here in Wailua, and my concern is the same as the gentleman that spoke to before me. My concern is pesticides and farming and agriculture here on the North Shore and throughout Hawaii and actually throughout the country. Earlier today, I took my hour walk from Whale Beach Park down toward Cayena Point. I do that many days a week, walk out about 35 minutes and walk back. I like to do it in the evening or morning because I see turtles. I told you folks a year ago, nobody probably remembers that when I walked a year ago, I saw a turtle this big and a big cancerous tumor on his neck. Today I walked and saw a turtle and he was smaller. I would say in human size, I would say he was 20 years old maybe or an older teenager. And he didn't have a tumor on his neck, but he had a tumor in between his back fin and his tail. That's from the pesticides. You know, I did a little research. I've done a lot of research, and I did some research on the health of the United States. In 2022, we spent $4.5 trillion on health care. That amounts to $10,000 for every man, woman, and child in the country. That's because of our farming. That's because of pesticides. Right here on the North Shore, 5 minutes from my house, they spray pesticides regularly in the agriculture that are banned in 6 or 8 other countries. I want to do a presentation to the board, a longer presentation, because there's no way I can do it right here and now. And I've done a lot of research. The last thing I'll say is I'm 75 years old. I haven't been to a doctor in 55 years, not one medical bill. You know why that is? Because when I was 20 years old, I said to myself, you can buy organic food or you can pay the doctor. I chose the organic food.
Thank you, Tom.
I hope we can address this.
Thank you. I would actually refer you to Water and Land, and I do know that you went to that community. You went to that committee, so I refer you to Water and Land. That's Raquel. Yeah, you have to, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate your time. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Rex.
Thank you, board, for being here tonight. My name is Rex Dubiel Shanahan. I'm a teacher at Sunset Beach Elementary and the vice president of the North Shore Outdoor Circle. Hello, everybody. Thank you for attending tonight. I'm here because I need the support of the board for maintenance on the bike path. Every other month, I meet with city officials because we're getting a new bike path. We're kind of right in the middle of planning and design. But the bike path maintenance has just, I beg them every time. Every other month, I'm saying, can you please maintain it? Can you please? And it's falling on deaf ears. So I'm just hoping that maybe the board would write a letter in support of proper maintenance of the bike path.
We'll have to put that on a future agenda, Rex. We can't do anything tonight. I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's okay, but at least everybody's aware of it. If you want
Yeah.
to call 311 and ask that number to take care of the bike path, that would be
Gotcha.
great too.
Great
Okay.
advice, Rex.
Okay,
Appreciate that.
and thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move right along because we got a full agenda tonight, and I know there's a few people here for our first item. Verizon cell tower upgrade. Board, I did email you the presentation. I believe they gave copies to everybody. The board? Okay, yeah.
I'm
Thanks,
Melissa.
Kanoy. Hi, Melissa.
Pavlisa.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Nice
Thank
to see
you.
some familiar faces and some new faces. Thank you for allowing us here today. I'm here on behalf of Crown Castle with 2 of my colleagues, Kanoy, who's passing out a handout, and we have some for those who are here. And Henry, why don't you introduce yourself?
Aloha, my name is Henry Aquino. I work with, nice to see you, Madam Chair, members of the board, and members of the general public. So we are here to do a presentation.
So Crown Castle is a telecommunications infrastructure company that operates cell phone towers and poles across the islands and in fact across the country. And as somebody who grew up in Maui, nothing has become more forefront in my mind since the wildfires than the importance of telecommunications. And Crown Castle's poles survived the wildfires and we were able to continue operations. We have a project that will entail a 15-foot increase in the height of a cell tower structure. And Henry's going to talk about it a little bit, and then I'll be glad to answer questions and add a little bit more.
Okay, thank you very much. So currently the location of the existing facility is behind 66-190 Kamehameha Highway. So this facility is located east of Kamehameha Highway and west of Highway 83. So in the handouts that were provided, you will see on the bottom of page 2 images of where the left photo is where the existing view of the tower would look like, and the proposed view of an extra 15 feet in height would look like.
I think we've given you quite a few different views, just trying to get a grip on exactly what it would look like. And the reason for this planned upgrade is that we're adding Verizon wireless coverage for capacity here in North Haleiwa. And really the purpose is to enhance coverage, allow for 911 service, enhance all of the capabilities and reception that you have. Right now, there's very poor overall service and especially weak indoor coverage. The existing post office site has low antenna heights and can't adequately serve this area. So the more visitors and high resident usage times from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. leads to degraded service and slow data speeds, which I'm sure you all are very abundantly familiar with. We are planning to utilize the existing tower, and this is consistent with the state's policy towards co-locating, using existing towers and not proliferating more towers. So improving customer data speeds and ensuring reliable service throughout the day is really the goal. There is a color photo which marks in red the poor coverage, cell coverage areas that you can see there. And with the increase in height of 15 feet, we would eliminate a large portion of that poor service area. There is a small area of equipment that is covered by a shelter structure, which you can see here. That would actually be removed, and there would be no increase in the footprint of this area. It's really just the height, and you can get a picture, the engineering diagram there on the last page, as well as some contact information from some of our engineering folks and people who are experts in the cell towers.
Great, thank you. I'm gonna start with the Haleiwa reps since this is right in their backyard. So I wanted to see if Raquel or Zaz or whoever else wants to speak. Carol, did you have anything you wanted to say? Beef.
Good evening. So just a couple questions. One, there's some text in red that I can't read on there because it's super, super tiny. So I'm just kind of curious what that says.
Can you tell me what page, just so I can make sure?
It's on 220. Oh, I'm sorry. Page 3. No, it's
3 on the proposed view.
It's on the
know,
right
I
side.
do have a larger image here. So it says at the top, proposed Verizon panel antenna array, and it says proposed Verizon lattice tower
thank you.
extension. Yeah, so if you look at the last page, it really relates to this structure at the top and what it looks like. So right now it's a little bit more like rectangular there, and you can see what it'll look like over there.
So beyond the raise in the height, which is how many feet?
15 feet.
15 feet. Is there going to be any other changes? Are going to be more, I don't want to use the R word, but will there be more radiation? I mean, what's the electromagnetic radiation? What else is changing besides just the 15 feet in height?
Previously, there was a service provider on there. Currently, it is not being utilized, so it would add back the capability that was there by adding Verizon. So right now, there is no cell service provider on that tower.
Okay, is there any numbers associated with that?
I
don't have those.
I don't have a number. I'm not sure what to tell you, but if there's some additional information about that, I'd be glad to share it with the board. I don't know what the radio frequency or anything like that is.
Okay, and then my other question is it only going to be for Verizon or is it going to be shared with other cell phone companies?
At this time, we only have Verizon. There is like I said, an effort statewide to co-locate service. So any upgrades or additional structures would have to, the board would be notified.
Thanks.
Is this strictly for Verizon or is it everybody?
This upgrade is for Verizon. That
So it
that
has
is the
no
only
effect on-
provider that we have.
On other,
Right. We don't have other service providers being added to this structure. I'm not sure how many of you are Verizon, sorry.
Board members, questions over here, Amy.
Would you be, I'm not familiar with this type of utility. Thank you for our service. I know this elementary schools buzzes all day long collecting data. What other providers, would you be allowing other providers to add to the tower? Once you have this approval and you've constructed it higher,
Yeah.
do you
I mean-
allow add-ons?
There is a process under the city ordinances to allow for co-location, so additional providers could in the future be requested to be added, but we don't have any current customers that are looking at that. And we would come before the neighborhood board anytime there's upgrades that need notification.
Thank you.
Is the company connected to Castle and Cook?
No.
Not the Castle family.
Any other questions from board, community, questions? I know Norman, yes,
Sorry,
come on up.
I'm turning my back to you,
Come
but I
on
want
up.
to make sure we.
Yeah, you have to, sorry, sir, you have to come up. And then Billy and then Franco. Thank you.
Evening, I'm Norman Fujioka. I'm the representative of the landlord of Malama Market. And I was the original negotiator for that tower. So I know a lot about the tower. And there's Crown Castle was not the original lessee operator. It was Sprint. And I'm not sure how many of you were here about 20 years ago when Sprint came in to get a variance for that tower. So, Sprint had the approval to initiate that tower, okay? Come to find out, the tower was useless. It only served pretty much Haleiwa and out to parts of Sunset. It didn't make any money for them. Now Sprint got bought out by T-Mobile, okay? So I'm not sure how the leases work, whether T-Mobile assumed that site, do you know? The liability for the site. Right? Because
So Crown Castle operates a number of cell towers across the state, and each one has its own line of history of how it was assigned. So I don't know for sure if it's directly from T-Mobile or if there was anybody in between.
But nevertheless, Sprint has abandoned that tower. It's not operable right now. Probably because no one wants to come in. It was because of that shorter tower. And that's why Verizon wants to change the height of it. Now, I'm wondering who's going to bear the cost of the tower upgrade, Verizon or Crown Castle?
I mean, ultimately, Crown Castle is responsible for the upgrade and negotiates the price with the tenants. And underneath our city ordinance, the city also is able to receive a portion of any lease rents. So it depends on where the location is, who owns the ground lease. And okay, I hate to say this answer, which is going to sound like a lawyer, and I try not to be, but the details of this exact lease, I'm not sure.
Just information. I'm not receiving any compensation. I don't get rent for that property anymore. That lease was sold. So I don't have any financial benefit. But I do want that tower dismantled. Okay. My tenant, Malama Market, sees it as a hazard right now. They want it removed too. And so you guys are supposed to demolish that tower when Sprint moved out, and you haven't. Right?
Again, I can't quite speak to the timing of when Crown Castle became responsible for this tower, but what I can tell you is if we don't have the access to utilizing a tower, the only way to get coverage and service is to build a new tower or place it on an existing pole. So as much as I hear what you're saying, I just want to speak to the need to use existing structures to make sure that they're safe and to ensure that the community has input over the height.
Okay, okay, Norma, I'm going to
One
have to
more.
ask you, one more and wrap it up. Thank you.
Okay, I would suggest Verizon look at other alternatives first before bringing their presentation to the board. I don't think that site is appropriate right now because it needs a taller tower. And I think there's other sites that can accommodate a taller tower or even at higher elevation with a shorter tower. That would be suffice.
Thank you, Norma. We really appreciate it. Great to see you, by the way. Billy?
Yeah, I happen to be a Verizon customer. I have to state that part, have for 25 years or more. My house and the property is in a dead zone. Okay, I don't know if it matters if it's just Verizon or not, but I had Verizon gave me a gadget that I can hook up to my Wi-Fi so that I can get a better signal in my house and within about 20 feet. But if I go down the driveway, it's a dead zone. I mean, I'm lucky if I get one bar. And I personally think it would be a good idea to put something in there. However, I think they should be a little bit better prepared for the questions we're asking because, we got to know. You put that thing up 50 feet or whatever it is it going to interfere with what? Airfare, the air helicopters, whatever. Going up higher in the mountain, not a bad idea, but then you got issues of electricity and other issues that probably may or may not come up. Not a bad idea. They should have torn it down a long time ago or made Comcast, do something about it because it's not working. That's all my comment I can say right now. I'm not very good at politics, so excuse me.
Thank you, Billy. We appreciate your comments. Franco?
I'm a little concerned about poles, electricity, Eco, Spectrum, T-Mobile. There's got to be other alternatives. Is there a possibility that you can look into maybe 21st century in terms of satellites instead of devastating the land with poles, etc.? There's got to be better alternatives.
Thank you, Franco. Board members, any other questions? Yes, Carol. Oh, Carol, hold on just one second. We've got a couple newbies over here. Go ahead, Zaz.
I was just wondering who owns the land? He doesn't know. Oh, okay. And then what Gs will it be putting out? Is it like 3G, 4G, 5G, or I don't know what G we're on.
I don't know if our friends from Verizon want to answer that question.
And also to that, how will the frequency affect the birds and everything around when it's at that height as well?
Absolutely. How's it going, folks? I'm Corey Schaefer. I'm the manager for Verizon in the state of Hawaii. I've lived in Waialua for the last 17 years. I know some of you guys. Nice to see you. So yeah, we're trying to fix the service in North Haleiwa. Everybody knows Joe's doesn't work, Ace doesn't work. So just the service. So it's the same service that's offered basically throughout Oahu. So we have 4G and 5G services. So we have 4 different frequencies that would be deployed there: 700 megahertz, 800 megahertz, 1900 megahertz, and 2300 megahertz. They're all just standard wireless RF signals, very similar to Wi-Fi. We comply with all the FCC regulations. Actually raising the tower moves the RF energy higher in the air, which is safer. So Yes, exactly. So, right, right. And we do bird studies. A bird study is not required at this particular site, but like Kauai, Big Island, a lot of those big tall towers require bird studies. For years, we have people walk through the fields, look for birds. We don't find them. So I'm not a scientist in that regard. So, but yeah, we do just comply with all the regulations that are out there. So does that address the questions for?
No, yes, it does. And then I feel like we keep, for technology, we keep wanting to like advance and do all these big things, but the internet's still the same. It's just nothing's changed. 3G, 4G, 5G, even from 2G.
Sure.
Like even our computers are still slow. So I feel like, I don't know, I'd hate to destroy more land, and especially an eyesore, it being that height. And I'm not sure how, we've been having a lot of natural disasters hit recently. We're way overdue for a big hurricane, and I'm just not sure how big, tall stuff, when
Yeah, so
natural
these are
Makes
wind-
sense.
these are rated and tested for wind loading. That's a requirement for the structural analysis. So structural engineers look at them. So during these wind events, the towers stay up. We do regular inspections. So this is a lattice tower. So it would be inspected every 3 years. Monopoles are the steel structures. Those get inspected every 5 years. So there's pretty rigorous regulations that we go through to ensure that they're safe. No towers have fallen down. We have over 450 locations statewide. Over 100 of those are rooftops, but about 300 of them are towers. So we have a lot of experience over the last 30 years operating those towers. This is a Crown Tower. They own it and operate it, but they still have to meet. Like when we put our stuff up there, a structural engineer will have to validate everything that goes on. They have to do wind load analysis, mount analysis, all that type of stuff. So it's just like any structure that gets built. It needs to be safe. And
Okay.
and it is.
I'm gonna go, Amy, anybody else down here has a George?
And you're
Oh,
willing
no,
to?
Amy, I'm so sorry. I was gonna ask George. We want to try and make sure everyone gets one opportunity. Thank you.
So how many towers do you collectively have on the island of Oahu?
Is that a Verizon? So Crown is a tower operator and Verizon is a cell phone operator. So we have towers, they have towers, AT&T has towers. There's lots of different towers.
So my question is, how many would you roughly say you have combined?
Crown or Verizon?
Both.
Verizon has approximately 200 cell sites on this island, but that's a mix of rooftops. There's a lot of rooftops in Honolulu. And then the rest would be towers. I don't know about Crown.
I'm going to ask Kanoi to answer that for us for Crown Castle. Kanoi.
Hi, my name is Kanoi Eisen. I'm with Crown Castle. So Crown Castle on Oahu has approximately 60 to 7 towers just on Oahu.
So the real question is, for disaster preparedness, how many of your towers have emergency backup generators? Because we know that was the problem in Lahaina.
So more than half of our cell sites have generators. The cell sites that don't have generators, it's up to the landlord. So like in West Maui, we have 10 cell sites. We have generators at 6 of them, and the 4 that we don't have generators at, the landlords won't allow us to. So we've asked the landlord to allow us to put generators, and they said no. Maui County is actually considering legislation to require them. I don't know how that works with private property. I'm not a lawyer. But when it came to Lahaina, what actually happened in terms of communications was not the loss of power. It was the burning of the fiber optic signals, the fiber optic cables that connect cell sites back to the rest of the world. So cell sites are connected back to a switching center, and then switching centers are all connected to each other. And that's how you call around the world. And that's done on fiber optics it's glass basically, but it's strung. And that melted and it burned. So we basically flew in satellites and restored them. And people were very glad. We got the network restored within 6 days. I'm speaking about the Verizon network. We were over there 24/7, for 7 days until we restored that. And then our fiber partners were there for 3 weeks and they restored that. And then the power took about 3 months. But that was it was a joint effort. We never stopped working from the moment that happened. The very next day I was down at the harbor getting a cell site with a satellite connection barged over there. So
Raquel has a question.
Thanks. Thank you for coming and sharing all that. I mean, I know it's not popular, but it's there. And there's no denying we need service. It's really, really bad out here. So, but my question is where it's located now, how does that impact the additional, did you say 15 feet? Additional?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so how does that impact the setback of the property line? Because I think it's 1 foot for every 5 feet of height. Is that accurate?
I don't know.
So when the tower was originally built, there was a waiver, I believe, that was obtained. And so that will be part of our zoning application request, is to approve a waiver for the additional 15 feet of the existing pole height.
Cheryl.
So I'm confused. So the tower is going to be owned by Crown Castle, and Verizon going to be using.
Verizon's a customer of Crown Castle.
Okay.
We operate the tower
Okay,
and
but
they provide the service.
but who owns the land? Is Norman? Norman
Apparently,
owns the land.
I'm not familiar with who owns the land, but I have no reason to dispute what he said.
Okay, but then Norman you get nothing.
Do you know who? I can call him. You can. But
The ground lease was sold to, I forgot, do you know who it was that bought it? No. Somebody bought the lease, the master lease from Crown Castle. You guys just don't know. Yeah, there is. Okay. Well, anyway, please make the distinction between Verizon and Crown Castle. They're two separate entities. Okay. So Crown Castle owns the cell site, the tower itself. And what I'm afraid of is if they're going to go further up, they're going to bring in more carriers.
Hey, let's see, Carol.
Okay, yeah, so actually I had a question for Norman, if he doesn't mind. A couple things. One, do you know how long that lease is that they have, or do they, is
Might as well just stay there.
They bought the lease from Sprint, and I sold the general lease to someone else outside of Crown Castle. So I believe it's 50 years.
50 more years?
No, less than that. They're probably maybe 30 years or something.
Okay, and then the other question was, well, two questions. One was who, you said that they were supposed to take the tower down and they didn't?
If it's been disused for, I think, 5 years, right? Well, there's no one operating that tower.
it has been used much more recently than that, and Sprint is no longer there, but this is within a matter of 2 to 3 years. So we've been working to try to acquire the agreement with a provider so that we could have cell service in this area.
And then just lastly, you mentioned something about health concerns for your employees. Did I hear that or no?
Well, because it's right next to the warehouse. And although the structure itself is supposed to be engineered for, hurricane or whatever, there's maybe a chance that it could collapse. We don't know.
So Verizon's willing to add their equipment to a bastardized tower. What is the lifeline of this tower?
So we'll do a structural upgrade, and that's what the structural analysis and mount analysis and wind loading analysis is for. So if anything fails on that, so as the operations manager, I have to inspect all the towers Verizon owns. So I'm very familiar with that. When they fail, we have to fix them. It's just a structural engineering. It's just like a bridge. So if a bridge starts to fail, you have to fix it. It's so if all the members need replaced, all the steel members need replaced. If they all pass testing, they pass testing. I'm not a structural engineer. I'm an electrical engineer. So I deal more with the actual networking and the radio frequencies. But structural engineers who are licensed in Honolulu, they have professional engineering stamps. They do the analysis and make sure it's safe.
And yeah, go ahead,
And
Norman.
thank you for providing the photos. Is there a photo from the bypass road? Many of us travel that road too.
Kanoi, I need you to come to the microphone. Thank you.
We didn't
Thank you,
put-
Amy.
We didn't put together a photo simulation from the bypass road view. But I think that's something that we could probably put
Yeah,
together.
we would
and
like that. Thank you.
Sure.
Great question. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Make a note of that.
Any other questions? Yes, go ahead, Norman.
If the tower is not granted for the extension, will that stop Verizon from acquiring another site in Haleiwa to serve the North Shore?
You're looking at Henry, but we have no way of answering that question. And I don't think Verizon could answer that question right at this moment either. I mean, I don't know that we have an answer for that.
Okay, one last question, Zaz.
Structurally, if it has to be torn down or whatever and rebuilt, do you guys have to dig deeper or do anything like that for the pole?
My understanding is no, that's not the case here.
Okay, anything else? Andrew, go ahead. Last question.
Yeah, this is, I'm not an electrical engineer, but why are all the question I have is more like, oh, Verizon has this. And then the concern that was voiced is that there would be additional service providers tacked on to that. And I think the question from my perspective is like, why can't the same thing be used, or maybe it can be used for all the different service providers so that everybody has service regardless of whether they're Verizon or this or that? Just if you could
That's a great,
enlighten us on that.
that's a great question. And
Thanks, Andrew.
that's a great question. That would be very cool. The differentiators between the different service providers are the frequencies that they use. So the actual antennas that get deployed are for those specific frequencies. And each different carrier has licenses from the government. So like those frequency ranges I referenced are Verizon's frequencies from the FCC. And then like there's Wi-Fi frequencies over here, and then there's FM stations down here, and the police channels are here. So the communications is all laid out by frequency, and the FCC regulates that. So because we're on different channels and different frequencies, we can't use the same physical equipment, if that makes sense. Like the antennas are like 600 megahertz antennas are this big, and 700 megahertz antennas are this big. It's like a physical, they're physically separate networks. And they have physically, all the locations of the networks are physically separated, and we're just different companies as well. So there's a technical differentiator, and there's a regulatory differentiator from the FCC's perspective, and then just the companies are different entities.
Okay,
That makes
thank
sense.
you. Thank you very much. If nothing else, we're going to move on, but we do thank you for coming tonight. And did you have something to add, sir?
I'm Noah. I'm the Verizon real estate manager for the state of Hawaii. So just a couple of comments in regards to some of the other questions and stuff like that. We did look at
Talk into the mic.
we did look at other options. And we just identified what we thought was the best option, which was an existing structure. The thing is, we're on top of the hardware store, and our signal is not getting down through Haleiwa at all. And it's not working in a lot of the businesses, like the phones actually don't work. But it's also going to help with the surrounding area. And we're already on the site. We're already on the tower here. We're on the other surrounding sites. So we just thought we just identified what was the best option from an engineering perspective. But we did look at other options in the surrounding area, like possible new site options, or like even building on a rooftop or something like that.
Okay, thank you very much. We
Yeah.
appreciate that clarity. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Moving on to our next item of business, Haleiwa Bottle Shop. I'm sorry, before we get there, I promised I had an exception for tonight to ask Amy Peruso's nice young rep to come up because she has to be someplace else. So if the board doesn't mind, if there's no issue, please come up right away. We need you to move. Oh, you can? Are you sure? Because okay, pause, okay. I'm just willing to do it, so no problem. Okay, thank you very much. And then one other quick announcement I wanted to make that I forgot to do at the top of the meeting. As you recall, this board, back, I think it was in November, Denise, correct me if I'm wrong, we supported 2 possible charter commission amendments, one for funding mechanisms for both the Department of Parks and the Department of Planning and Permitting, and I'm very pleased to announce both of them have been recommended by the Charter Commission to move forward in their process. We made the cut, guys. Great job. So we will continue to dog this, and when they're agendized for the bigger conversation that they will have, we will let you guys know, and it will be really good if we can, as many of us can show up to testify and support. They do like to see our shiny faces, and we do have some friends on that commission, so I feel pretty optimistic about at least one of them getting on the ballot, hopefully both this year. So great job, team. Next up, Christian, you're up, my friend. Thank you.
Aloha board, thank you for allowing me to present tonight. I'm here to talk about the Haleiwa Bottle Shop and its transition from a retail beer, wine, and spirit store to a hybrid retail and on-premises gathering spot. So my name is Christian House. I moved out here when I was 3. I attended Sunset Beach Elementary from kindergarten through 6th, Kahuku High School from 7th through 12th. I left for school and work, became back 20 years ago. I live in Sunset Beach currently. My wife Elizabeth has owned Guava Shop in Haleiwa for 18 years. My mom Denise worked at Cafe Haleiwa for around 35 years. My in-laws came out to support me, Adam and I don't know where Jody went, and his son Kea, their son Kea. I took over the Haleiwa Bottle Shop in 2017, focusing on craft retail beers and better wine. Our customer base has been a fairly even split between locals and visitors. This has always been a mom and pop shop. In 2021, it literally became one when my mom started working there. We haven't been cited for any liquor commission violations since opening, except for a citation due to a paperwork error that happened during the license transfer, and that I still don't really understand. While it's been open for 9 years and has had some busy years, retail is tough. It's been a struggle to keep this business open. In 2020, I was able to lease a space in the old Kahuku Sugar Mill to open a location similar to the bottle shop, but adding beers on draft. I had to apply for 2 separate liquor licenses to operate like this: a general retail liquor license for retail sales and a dispenser general music and dancing license for drinking alcohol on premises. I haven't hosted any dance events in the beer garden, but to have any kind of live music, you have to apply for this category. I opened the Kahuku Beer Garden and Bottle Shop in 2021. We have 14 local beers on draft and wine. For retail, it mirrors the bottle shop, and then we have some merchandise and other non-alcoholic stuff. The beer garden is a place for locals and visitors to grab a drink while eating food from trucks and restaurants nearby. It's a mellow space. Our customers range from young adults to retirees, and is filled with families and familiar faces. We will occasionally have acoustic musicians, but we've never had DJ nights, trivia nights, or loud bands. There are no TVs, games, happy hours, or drink specials. It's a place to talk and hang out. Kahuku is a small town. Before I opened, I faced reservations about opening from the community. I presented a business plan to the Ko'olauloa Neighborhood Board and the Kahuku Community Association, and have not deviated from my promise to be a mellow gathering place. Since we've opened, we've received 0 citations from the Liquor Commission, and our property manager, Doug Cole of Team Real Estate, has received 0 complaints from the community. I've been able to successfully run the beer garden in the Kahuku community for almost 5 years. And now, instead of closing the Haleiwa Bottle Shop, I'm applying to permanently change it to the same model. I've applied for a permanent reduction of my physical retail space and for a new dispenser general music and dancing license in order to serve beer and wine for on-premise consumption. Just like the beer garden, we will have beers on draft, retail alcohol sales, and a bring your own food policy. There is a small bar, counter, and table seating inside, and around 10 seats in a covered outdoor area facing our parking lot. We will not have trivia nights, DJ nights, or loud bands. No TVs or games, no happy hour or drink specials, no dancing. We may occasionally have acoustic music, but it won't be loud. This will not be a late night spot. We don't want that hassle. Just like Kahuku, this will be a mellow gathering place. The Haleiwa Bottle Shop is located in a mix of businesses, but there are a few homes nearby, including our landlords. I know that nobody wants to hear loud music or crowd noise from a business while in their living room. The Liquor Commission requires any license in a mixed residential and business zone to keep noise to a maximum level of 55 decibels during daytime hours, which is defined as between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m., as measured at another business or residence property line. It's a violation if the commission measures noise levels exceeding 55 decibels for more than 2 minutes at a time within a 20-minute period. So I'm well aware of the rules. That level is equivalent to normal conversation or background music as heard at their property line. So that we don't exceed this level, we'll play music inside at an acceptable level, close our doors if the interior noise gets too loud, and police the outdoor seating and the parking lot to maintain respectful quiet. We're on a busy stretch of Kamehameha Highway, so I believe these residents are used to a fair amount of business noise coming from our main street. My noise level will not stand out from that existing atmosphere. The bottle shop has an existing parking lot for roughly 40 vehicles. If the lot is full, there's additional paid parking at the WCA. Cafe Haleiwa next door gets busy, but they're busiest during breakfast. We expect their customers to thin out before hours arrive and not cause a logjam in the parking lot or the driveway. We also expect foot traffic like we already get now. These customers are parked somewhere else and will not be hitting the road to access the bottle shop. This stretch of Haleiwa obviously gets busy, but it has a large parking lot and a long driveway that does not regularly see cars backed up onto Kamehameha Highway, foot traffic customers, and the WCA parking option. We don't expect the new version of the bottle shop to truly affect traffic. I submitted my application for this license change last June. I was told to expect a 12 to 15-month wait until my hearing for a permanent license. So business hasn't been great at the bottle shop, and it probably wouldn't have survived until my hearing. So I applied for a special license, which allows the bottle shop to serve beer and wine on premises until we're hopefully approved for a permanent license. I have to follow the same Liquor Commission rules as if I'd been issued a permanent license. I know those rules well because I've operated Kahuku for almost 5 years. We did a soft opening with a special license a few weeks ago. Instead of waiting until the board was notified by the Liquor Commission about my permanent license hearing, I wanted to be proactive. So I notified the board as soon as I knew I could open under the special license so there would be no questions about my intentions. I talked about my background earlier just to establish that I grew up here and live here now. I'll never claim that I understand every aspect of the North Shore, but I know the standards and the respect that the community demands overall. The Liquor Commission has ultimate authority over my businesses, and their investigators and the commissioners can punish me for violating the rules. But I know that you can operate within the rules and still annoy your neighbors. I believe that true accountability for my business's operation lies in you, the community. I not only need people who like beer and wine to enjoy the bottle shop, but I need the North Shore in general to know that I am not a nuisance. I promised Kahuku that I would operate in a low-key fashion, and I think that I've delivered on that promise. So I'd like to prove to you all that this plan and promise is legitimate as well.
Thank you, Christian. Very nice. And I saw everyone following around along, so very good. I did get an email from Doug Cole this afternoon, and he writes, Aloha Chair Pahinui, I would like to offer my strong support of the Haleiwa Bottle Shop's liquor licensing application and board presentation tonight. Christian House has had another establishment called the Kahuku Beer Garden and Bottle Shop for the past 5 years. During this time, he has been an excellent tenant and business operator, and we have not received any complaints about his business from the community, neighbors, or other tenant businesses in the shopping center. When we leased him the space, he assured us it would be a mellow, low-key establishment, and this has proven to be true. When I'm at the shopping center for appointments, I often see friends and acquaintances enjoying the Kahuku Beer Garden, always in a controlled, mellow way, and I'm confident Christian will operate a similarly well-run establishment in Haleiwa that residents will enjoy having in town. So I just wanted to share that with you. I got that today. So, board members, questions. We'll start on this side, Bob.
Two real
Cap.
quick. I know the Liquor Commission always wants to know what the neighbors think. You sort of left that piece out of your excellent presentation.
Thank you.
And the second piece is, as it relates to alcoholic kombucha, kombucha usually has living bacteria for your guts. So if it's got alcohol in it, doesn't that kill the living part of it? Perhaps you could clarify the % alcohol in the kombucha.
I do not know about the kombucha, the hard kombucha. The notification of our neighbors, both businesses and residents, I believe comes with the permanent application. And my attorney is handling that notification and the mailers. Yes.
Carol's next. Go ahead.
Yeah, Amy. Thanks, Christian. So I really appreciate you coming out and, getting ahead of it. So everyone knows, Christian and I talked pretty lengthy about the location and the intention, because, I believe everyone is lying to me. So, but I know Christian, I did go and check out Beer Garden and Kahuku and kind of hung out just to see. It's a nice little vibe, very clean, the whole thing. And you're already operating. So I'm looking forward to seeing the success of your property. And I know there's not been any complaints or issues with the idea of it. So, but I gotta treat everybody.
You have
with
my
food,
number.
So I know where you live.
Cool. Thank you for checking it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raquel. Okay, Amy.
I've also been to the Kahuku establishment. It is very nice. It is very relaxing. And when we hear your business model for this, it pretty much matches Kahuku.
Almost exactly.
Okay.
It's maybe a little bit nicer on the inside because of the furniture that my wife Liz picked out.
Okay. I just wonder if the same business model will be supported out there. I don't know if there's as many food trucks in walking distance to this. I adore that you allow outside food. I think that's a great part of the business model for the locals. And there's probably less tipping in this business model as well. But
Right. There's the cafe is open for lunch. Celestial is now doing grab and go food.
it
There
is nice, affordable option. But I just wonder if this business model will be supported in the same way.
Fingers crossed.
Carol and then Denise.
I want to speak in support, so with another hat on. The North Shore Chamber of Commerce is a neighbor of you guys, and we've had 0 incidents as far as I can tell, as any negative impact. And also really like the idea of local people running businesses in our community. So I hope you are successful in your endeavors.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thank you.
A question and a comment. So excellent presentation. That was the first comment.
Cool. Thanks.
Really nice. Thank you. Question about the parking lot. It's kind of back there. So I don't know if there are plans, joint improvement or anything or something. It's just pretty potholy. So that
The
was
driveway is really bad. I'll talk to the landlord about
Yeah.
it. And yeah, there's some people coming in the middle space, so
'Cause
they
it-
want to make it.
yeah, it's
much
much
nicer.
loved parking
Yeah.
lot.
But
Needs some love.
You enter very slowly though.
Yeah.
Nobody's speeding in there.
And then my second comment is just to echo Carol's comment. We talk about supporting local businesses, and this to me is like a perfect model with a track record. And if not this, then there's nothing really better we can imagine, right? Local family, local connections, track record, fully accountable to Raquel. No, I think it's fantastic. So I'm very supportive, and thank you for making the effort and taking the leap, leap of faith. So
Cool. Thank you.
By the way, I love your wife's shop, so very nice. I was asked if you carry Heineken.
It's a little different, but there might be something that tastes like Heineken, kind of.
Okay, thank you. Community, any questions for Christian? And I gotta say, he was here at our board meeting last month when we were talking about another establishment, and he came back. So clearly we didn't scare him, so that's a good thing. I thought for sure we'd scared you off. If there are any other questions or concerns, yes, Denise.
do you need a letter, or would you like a letter from the board for the liquor commission? Does it matter?
That'd be very helpful. Yes, please.
Okay,
if you-
so then I'll
if
make
you
a
could.
motion that the board send a letter in support to the liquor commission.
Really appreciate
And
that.
Dave Burlew seconds. Obviously, he's going to be a good
Thank you.
customer. Okay, board, any further discussion? Blake?
Yeah, I'll speak in support of this motion. I was just curious, so like the same way that it's bring your own food, so you bring your own non-alcoholic beverages as well, or is there things like coffee or whatnot available there?
There's no coffee There's no coffee there. There will be soda. I just have to order it. And then if you bring in a Coke, nobody's gonna say anything. If like, if your kid brings in
Okay. And then I
McDonald's
know
with soda,
I
it's
felt
fine.
like your materials were really strongly against trivia nights. I was just curious.
There's
would
no
you
knowledge
reconsider
allowed
that
at
in the
all.
Future or, thank you.
Okay, thank you. If there no further discussion, we have a motion on the floor and I'll ask Soidel to do a voice count. Oh, Linnell, real quick, you have to come up, dear.
Thank you for that excellent presentation, Christian. And yeah, it's nice, local family and all that. But you mentioned that there are no citations from the Liquor Commission, no citations, 0 citations since opening for the Kahuku Beer Garden. But are you aware of any driving under the influence citations by customers who frequent your establishments?
Not that I know of, and there's no reporting system that would really tie me to it. But every employee in Kahuku is aware that they shouldn't overserve and that they don't want anybody drinking and driving.
Oh, good. That's great.
Thanks, Linnell.
My second question is, what is the ratio between the residents and the tourists? So the Kahuku Beer Garden, the tourists that frequent, that stays at Turtle Bay, finds it a really good deal to be drinking at your establishment. So what is the ratio there at Kahuku or even in Haleiwa?
Haleiwa is hard to say because it is a different business with just the retail sales. But without hard numbers, I would say that during the day, it's tourist. It leans more tourist because they are doing road trips or coming through for the food trucks. But there's always a strong contingent of locals. And then in the evening becomes more locals and residents with some people, stragglers from Turtle Bay.
Okay, thanks, Linnell. By the way, we do have Gecko Gulch right near there, next to where he's located. So there's plenty of places to get food. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Go ahead, Zoidel.
Dave.
Aye.
Amy. George. Cheryl. Andrew. Raquel. Leaf. Saz. Zaz. Carol. Denise. Charlene. Bob. Blake. Kathleen. So we got 13 ayes, 0 noes, 1 abstention. Adopted.
Okay, Christian, I'll email you so you can tell me who to send the letter to, and then I'll get that written up for you.
Cool. Really appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you.
so
Thank
much
you
the
both
letter.
for
Thank
coming
you.
tonight. Appreciate it. Great presentation. Okay, next up, we Y Home. They have presented to our cesspool committee, and they've been working closely with one of our civil engineer guests that come to that meeting, Dennis Poma. He does a lot of septic and septic systems and bigger systems. So we will have, you have a letter in front of you. They're asking for a letter of support. We are going to change the very last paragraph. Dennis did send us a revised ending paragraph, and I have run it by James and Natasha. They're good with it. But right now, I'm going to let James do his thing, and I'll go ahead and get the lights for you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, while James is pulling up our presentation, I'm sorry I don't have printouts for you of the slides. It was kind of a classic printer ran out of ink, bursted water line, and the library takes their 6 p.m. close really seriously. But we are here today. We are Y Home, and we're here to talk about some alternative wastewater systems, cesspool upgrades, and opportunity for infrastructure that is non-traditional. Now, the slide. Just to be clear with all of y'all, James and I are part of the Y Home team. We are a local company, and the technologies that Y Home is bringing to market were all developed here, and they were all a response to the unique geospatial conditions of Hawaii's geology. And so my name's Natasha Kashishian. I live up on the North Shore. That's James Roberts. He's one of the founders, also lives up here. And so we're up here on your behalf, but we are equal stakeholders in getting more sewage out of the coast. So avid water girl right here. Maybe you've seen us in your mail, you've gotten one of these flyers, and if not, maybe you've seen us around talking about making sewage sexy. But today we're going to cover existing infrastructure. We're going to introduce our most pragmatic technology, which is MATA, talk a little bit about the community engagement that we are kicking off, and we're going to conclude with a Q&A. So just hold them to the end.
Okay, so just to do a brief overview of what already exists out there in the field. Lots of folks are familiar with cesspools, so I won't belabor this subject. But essentially, the premise is wastewater flows directly from your sewer into a pit in the ground, and there isn't solids removal. Nutrients and bacteria ends up going into groundwater or the coast. Those are two of the biggest concerns. You also have, with older cesspools, some issues with clogging, overflowing. That's cesspools. They have to be replaced by 2050, according to the state mandate. So this is the standard upgrade that people have been offered to upgrade their cesspool. Common costs that people get quoted for a septic system in a leach field is about $20,000 to $60,000. We occasionally hear numbers that are more than $60,000, but that's a typical range. Essentially what it does is a septic tank settles out the solids, and then the liquid gets dispersed over a large area in your backyard so that the soil can remove some of that bacteria, some of those nutrients, so it affects the coast or groundwater less. The problem with this for a lot of homeowners is they don't have space for all of this, and if they have shallow bedrock or coral bedrock, then this becomes very expensive to do all of that excavation. It might be very difficult for you to even get an excavator into your backyard to do this. You might have a receding coastline, so it might not be possible to fit a leach field into your backyard. Other options that exist are essentially the septic ATU seepage pit combination. Sometimes that septic and ATU are combined into one unit, but essentially what the ATU does is it adds aeration to the process so that some of the bacteria and nutrient removal that happens normally in a leach field gets moved into the treatment aspect of the system. So that's great, except it doesn't really bring the cost down. So it can make it possible to use an existing cesspool as a seepage pit, but the costs are still often quite high, typically north of $30,000. In response, Wyoming has developed a above ground alternative to the septic tank. It does that primary treatment in a 2 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot unit that exists above ground. It's specifically designed so that you're not digging into that bedrock into your backyard. It's something that can fit even if you can't fit an excavator into your backyard. And it's designed for homes with post and pier foundations. So it's not, unfortunately, a solution for concrete foundations. There are 2 notes that I should make about this. So for instance, we're pitching this to the Department of Health. It's a solution where you add MATA, which is an above ground unit, ahead of your seepage pit. It's a very affordable solution, but it's only possible in areas with structural cesspools. If your cesspool is collapsing, then it would, of course, need to be upgraded or switched to a leach field in order for this to be possible. And then also that I'll get into, there's also the potential that you would want to add additional nutrient removal to our system prior to adding to the seepage pit so that you really protect the reefs. But this is kind of the base model that we're pitching. Next slide. Here's kind of what it looks like. It's there's the 2 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot unit that sits beside a post and pier home. Yeah, our right now we're targeting the first customers that we're selling to, where our unit cost is $6,000. We're estimating about $1,500 for the install. But this is all kind of pending as we move through the Department of Health. We're pitching it as essentially primary plus treatment, because instead of like a septic tank that settles out solids and then digests them and basically solubilizes them, just so that most of that still ends up going out to the ground and to the reef. Our system, it completely separates out solids with an auger screen and dehydrates them. So none of that ends up going out to the reef. Only the things like urine that go through a screen. Anyway, moving on to the next slide. We should have, we have a look at how it performs. We just wrapped up third-party testing with UH. That report should be going to the Department of Health. They just collected their last data point this week, so ASAP it should go to the Department of Health. But essentially, we got about 90% suspended solids removal, which means that's 90% less organics, solids that are going to your cesspool or your seepage pit, and then breaking down and going out to the ocean. And we're also seeing that we're getting a lot of nitrogen removal with removing the nitrogen associated with those solids. Again, it doesn't get the dissolved solids, so in those high sensitive areas, you're going to want to add additional above ground liquid treatment, but this is a nice base model for a lot of households. Here's how it works. It's basically an auger screen, so it's designed to connect to your existing 3-inch sewer. Instead of settling out solids, it's an auger screen, so it screens out solids, and then liquids filter down to the bottom of the tank. At that point, it's basically just a sump pump chamber. So a level switch lifts when enough water collects in the bottom of the tank, and that triggers both the disposal pump that sends the liquids to either follow-on treatment or your disposal system, while also triggering that auger, which scrapes solids off the screen and drops them into a dehydration bin. Those solids then collect over a 1 month to 3 month period, depending on the capacity of your home, before being swapped into a dehydration position while a new filling bin that fills. We might have a graphic of how that solids bin setup works. So basically it's a 2-bin system. So one's always filling while the other one's dehydrating. And then when one's dehydrated, you move that into the other position. Next slide. We do online monitoring so that we can do preventative maintenance, because compared to a septic system, we do have mechanical components. So we want to know if they're starting to get old and need to be replaced. So we do online monitoring, connects to Wi-Fi, and then we can get flagged if there's an issue with the pump or the auger is starting to slow down and the motor needs to be replaced. And then I think it might be you, Natasha.
So with our third-party water and odor testing all complete through the university, as James had mentioned, we have began getting out in front of all of you guys and in front of the community through a lot of different ways, be it home visits or having people actually to our pilots where you can see MATAs in operation. And to no surprise, really, the community, I feel, has ended up educating me more than I went out to educate the community. And in that, I just want to focus on, we are looking for approval from the Department of Health with this technology. And what that means is not just presenting quality data to them, but also kind of humanizing data that the DOH has already taken on. And basically with these cesspool conversions, the DOH found in a report that they conducted in 2021 and released in 2022, it's unaffordable for 97% of homeowners. And the thing is, it's not just affordability. There are geospatial constraints that community members face. And so if kind of some of these conditions that I'm going to talk about in the next 2 slides resonate with you or your property, we do have a sign-up sheet up here. I would love to get out, see your site, talk to you more. If you don't feel that they resonate, but you want to talk story and have us out, please. That's what we're here for. So basically just some microcosms of community. I changed homeowner names. I only included 2 for brevity today. But, you know, this is a really good example. Cheryl, she bought her home 40 years ago. She's on a 5,000 square foot lot. And She has never had to pump her cesspool, probably because it's tied into a coral vein. And she doesn't have the money to upgrade a septic or an ATU. She would like to do something better. But on top of that, she planted a poklon tree in the one side of her yard that would hold a septic or an ATU tank. And she planted it 40 years ago. And realistically, she's going to die before she ever takes that tree down. And that's the thing. It's not only financially unfeasible and causing community disruption, like it's emotionally really distressing, the mandate in its current state with the current options on the market. So another like microcosm community that's been easy to focus on is Haleiwa Beach. They're all 5,000 square foot lots. They're all pretty built up. This was a couple, Tom and Kat. They want to upgrade because they're paddlers. They're concerned about the pollution of their cesspool. They pump it every 9 months just preventatively. It's getting more expensive to pump. And on top of that, like they tried to upgrade to septic a few years ago and then realized that upgrading to septic was also like tearing down their deck structure to give access to that infrastructure. And that kind of made the price point, like that final bit, unobtainable. And that's where like subgrade infrastructure really doesn't shine. So with that being said, the question that you're probably all wondering is like, okay, where's MATA stand with the mandate? Can I meet Act 125? And as of today, no, we don't meet the mandate. And that's why we're here, because we're applying to be an approved technology. An alternative technology is how you would actually say it. And what we're looking for really is like, if you have a small lot or you've got coastal intrusion, a high groundwater table, shallow bedrock, anything that's going to make excavation really improbable or really expensive. If you're concerned environmentally, if your cesspool keeps backing up, these are all great reasons to look into a change. And so on behalf of Why Home, we have asked that the North Shore Board, what's the word? Endorse, thank you, that the North Shore Board and hopefully you guys endorse us in our report to the DOH in essentially giving this cesspool mandate a little bit more credibility in having a technology that is affordable for the community. So thank you. Thank you all.
James, we're going to leave that up in case people have questions about specific slides, and I know you weren't able to get us our copies. Due to
Yes,
technical difficulties, it happens.
It's a copy. I'm happy to email it to you. So.
So there, and we don't use the word endorse, we use the word support. It keeps us out of trouble. As an agency, we are not allowed to do that. So really quickly, guys, you should have a letter in your packet that they gave to us for their support. And of course, now I can't, here it is. Where is it? Shoot, here it is.
They're also on the table. We have a spec sheet of MATA. It's kind of just a simple spec, but you can take them. We have our contact information as well. So feel free to take those.
So before we get to questions, which we'll get to very quickly, as I mentioned earlier, so instead of that final paragraph that says we urge the department, Dennis is recommending, and both James and Natasha agree, that the final paragraph will read, the North Shore Neighborhood Board number 27 recommends the wastewater branch conduct a review and approval of the innovative alternative wastewater system proposed by Why Home, which may offer an affordable pollution reduction alternative for our and other Hawaii communities. So it's a little bit more formal than what we have in the current letter. So I will be looking for a motion of support as soon as we get through some questions. So board members, any questions initially? Yes, George.
So I see this working on the older structures where the home is above ground. What happens with the homes that are on a slab with level, you have to pump it up into the system?
So currently we are not looking to work with homes directly on slab because the pump that facilitates that upward momentum is prone to failure. And we aren't looking to create more headache for homeowners. We're trying to make this easier.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. Dave?
Yeah, energy use. So it sounds like you've got a motor. And is the dehydration process, is there something in there aiding the dehydration?
Yes, there is. There's a pump, the disposal pump, a motor for the auger, and a 300-watt heater for the dehydrator. The dehydrator heater is only intermittently on. It's the big drain. The pump and the motor are on for such a short, they'd be on for less than 5 minutes per day. So it's such a periodic thing that doesn't affect the energy use very much. The heater is the one that would, but it's only on intermittently for 24 hours, depending on your usage, like once a week, every 2 weeks. So its overall energy use is similar to like a modern refrigerator.
Okay, great.
So it is, I mean, a fridge does use electricity. It's not insignificant, but
We calculated at 44 cents a kilowatt, about $22 to $26 a month, depending on home occupancy. So significantly cheaper than a cesspool pump out or a sewer bill.
And then I guess a follow-up question is, there will be some eventual residue that does need to be removed, and is it just like a litter box trash? Yeah.
we're talking to the Department of Health about that. The ball is gonna be in their court with how they want to regulate that. It's basically a dehydrated brick. It's odorless. There are a few different options depending on what the Department of Health chooses. One would be that it can be reused on site. There are options within the existing regulations that would support that. They could also elect to be more conservative, that it would be thrown away. It's a dehydrated brick. You could put it in your residential trash. And then the other option is that we require a maintenance program, and that would just be offered as a service, and it would be removed without the homeowner needing to do anything. Obviously, we like the idea of being able to offer the service, but we also want the kind of the DIY option so that you're not just adding another bill to homeowners.
Oh, great. Thank you for asking my questions. That was thorough. Thanks.
Okay, Blake and then Bob. Sorry, Bob, he got in first.
Thanks for your presentation. Just as a layperson, I think there's at least two things that I felt like you helped explain in this broader conversation about the priority being the coastal properties where a cesspool may have a direct linkage to the nearshore waters because of the nature of the soils and the shallowness of the situation of the existing cesspool. And I think you also highlighted, in my opinion, that even under the septic systems, which are being pushed on people, there still appears to be wastewater being distributed almost even in your visual closer to the beach than the vertical orientation of a cesspool. And so I really like that fact. And I think you also kind of convey visually that there's solids. I don't know what's going on with the solids in the septic tank, but I'm assuming there's something. And I think you covered the question about what to do with the solid material once it's been dried out. So I really appreciate that. But I think still trying to understand a little bit more about the reduction that the average person would see. Let's say if they're a property owner, one of the property owners that you illustrated, if you were swimming out in front of that person's house without your system and then with your system, I'm still having a little bit of trouble understanding the core argument about like what percentage better is it to swim out in front of a house with your system versus a cesspool. Not that it's to be answered tonight, but I feel like that would really help people understand why, for children and for, even us just swimming, like why you would prefer to have this system on a nearshore home versus a cesspool. Thank you.
In brevity, I would say, and I've done some really crazy quantifying of sewage rates. So like how much solid fecal matter does a family of 6 produce? And like, what does that look like dehydrated in the equivalent of like 2-liter soda cans, or like trying to like relate it to trash cans and things that we can visualize, because that is a really big thing with subgrade infrastructure is We know cesspools are polluting. We know septic systems don't perform well here because they were engineered in a totally different subsoil condition on a different continent, but we don't see them fail. And that's where coming above grade is, I think, a really kind of a shining star. But, you know, you can look up like Puaco's like coral reef die-off and Malka to Mackay cesspool flow rates. And they've done dye tracer studies on Big Island where from flush to coast is 8 hours. So I can circle back to you with how many trash cans of poop we're going to save you from swimming in. But just know that those cesspools are leaking.
But I do
fast.
think for clarity's point, Blake, he's also asking the difference. You made it clear that you wouldn't be swimming in fecal matter, but you're still swimming in something else. So I think if you could go back and bring that back to us, we would really appreciate that. Thank you. We have Bob and then Andrew.
I think anything that helps our current situation is something to look really closely at. I also think that with regard to our waste stream, there's wide variabilities, whether it's greasy food or perhaps a type of pathogens you might be moving along. And so then there's the amount of liquid that's in it, there's retention time or detention time. And then when you get into sorting out the solids, that would be a variable too, obviously. You want some of it to break down, even though you've got a grinder in there. But when you dry that out, would it be pathogenically active? And where would you put something that perhaps is pathogenically active? I mean, I'm just, so kind of the rest of the question is, where do you have samples of where you've used the system before and how many? I mean, there's so much to learn. I like the idea of what you're doing, but I could probably think of 100 questions and I won't.
No, I mean, those are all huge questions. The Department of Health study, or sorry, the UH study that we've done third party with the Department of Health was a 6-month study. It looked at one controlled system where we had very specific loading to the system so that we could quantify exact percent removal efficiencies. And then it had 2 like real field systems where it was just loaded with how homeowners would load the system. So in terms of percent removals, that's where we get something like 90% suspended solids removal, 87% BOD, which is like an organic metric. And then in that case, we got 46% nitrogen removal, but that really depends on the fraction of, or the amount of food waste per capita that's generated. So in that test methodology, there was a fair amount of food waste. So we got very high nitrogen removal. If it was lower, we would get a lower fraction of nitrogen removal, and you really would want potentially a follow-on above ground liquid treatment unit to get that dissolved nitrogen that's in the urine. In terms of fecal coliforms in the solids, the benefit of the dehydration process is it pushes the temperature of those dehydrating boxes above 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So you get deactivation of viruses. The reason why we haven't submitted the Department of Health, or sorry, the UH third-party testing to the Department of Health is our last data point that we needed to collect was UH needed to come out and sample those solids and test for fecal coliforms. So based on we suspect we're aiming for 200, less than 200 CFU coliform forming units per gram of solids. I can get you a number that we actually hit in probably a few days, but I expect we'll hit it based on the temperatures that we get in the dehydrating unit.
Okay, thank you. That's great information. Please share that with us and I'll make sure that everyone gets it. Yeah, thank you, Bob. That's because, you know, that's one of the ways they find things like measles and stuff. So great question, Bob. Andy.
All right, great concept. Really like what I'm hearing and seeing. 2 questions kind of relate to changes that we might be seeing in the next 10 years, 50 years, whatever you want to call it. If you don't have a cesspool already, and considering about like groundwater levels and sea level rise and things of that nature, Are there other options of connecting it to something to dispense rather than a cesspool that goes deep that's going to eventually be in groundwater?
Mhm.
That's question one.
Yeah,
There are some fun options.
yes. Yes, Mata is actually one of 3 above ground technologies. It's just the most pragmatic, and that's why we brought it forth today.
It's the one that we're going to market with first, but we do have an at-grade disposal chamber. So it's like a leach field, but without excavation. It's essentially embedded into the ground instead of buried. It's not the first thing we're trying to sell because it's just, you know,
It's the last
another thing to present to the Department of Health.
Got it.
But there are other options in terms of, I mean, it of course can work with existing leach chamber options or leach field options. And then you also get in the realm of, for instance, there are conversations about community scale systems where you have maybe on-site primary treatment and then network, like a collection network of small diameter, low pressure collection piping. And so our system could pump to a central treatment plant, and it wouldn't be as expensive to install as gravity sewers. So that's kind of a cool option. And there are, and then also, I would say, from the perspective of the nitrogen that's remaining in the wastewater, it's the perfect concentration in comparison to like a fertigation system. So if you could, this is difficult with the Department of Health. It's the one that I get the most excited about, but the potential to use it for irrigating and with nutrients like crops, that is exciting, but it's a slower process.
One more thing on that. All 3 of our technologies are modular and above ground. And so the whole intention is that they can respond to an incredibly variable amount of scenarios. And in that way, if a different liquid disposal technology came forth in the future and you could just run your liquid effluent into that instead of something subgrade, that would be great. And like actually James and I met because I have we both got graduate degrees independently in photobioreactor development using microalgae to remediate nutrient pollution. So like we're all about like novel technologies.
And then that kind of leads into my second question that's very relevant considering what we just as a community went through over the weekend with flooding and stuff like that, right? There's a lot of houses, whether they're new, old, that are in a floodplain. We just got flooded over the weekend. And, you know, the septic systems, whether it's a cesspool or a septic system, that's kind of in the area that's getting flooded, right? And that's one of the benefits that you guys mentioned with it's above ground. And I'm wondering, you know, if you have things that are, as water tables go up, is there a way of kind of changing the system where now your storage is actually higher up on the house or something like that? You know, like how you have base flood elevations and things of that nature. Like what's the ability to potentially adapt different technologies like this so that even when we have extreme events, that it's still, you know, the bad stuff is out of the system. So.
Thanks, Andy.
It is the beauty of the pump's disposal that you have flexibility with where the wastewater goes after. So, you know, if the Department of Health is game, then we're excited to look at it. I would definitely say.
Okay, being cognizant of our time, I want to make sure that at least, because they have asked us for support and that we have distributed a letter, I've also acknowledged that we want to change the last paragraph, or that's my recommendation, that we edit the letter. And both Natasha and James have said that sounds like a fabulous idea. So I would entertain a motion on the letter with the change that I've proposed. Okay, Carol makes a motion. Do we have a second? Bob seconds. Okay, further board discussion? Yes, sure. Okay. 1 second, George. And I want to make sure there's any community concerns or questions. Franco, please.
Hi, Franco. Good to see you.
Thank you for the presentation. No pass zones, agricultural lands. Would the MATA system be applicable?
Okay, putting on my Board of Water Supply hat. Okay, if the existing cesspools, most of those are down, unfortunately, on this side, down below. It is what it is. Upstairs, going up the hill, I love their other two technologies. And I think those would really be great because then we wouldn't be affecting our water at all because nothing would be going into the ground. So I think from that perspective, I do really like your other two technologies. Because I don't know how many, we got septic systems up there, but not that many cesspools, I don't think. But yeah, I'd say the above grounds are probably more preferable than anything going into the ground. Thank you. Yeah, great question, Franco. Thank you. Okay, and not seeing any other questions. Last one, George, we do need to dispose of this.
Just asking. So the motion is for us to write a letter asking,
They've already written a letter.
right?
Yeah,
So the letter is asking Department of Health to review this.
yes.
Fine.
Yeah, thank you, George. Thank you for the clarification.
We're just trying to, as you all can imagine, as everything in Hawaii doesn't move that fast, the Department of Health is a particularly slow hurdle in bringing new technology forward.
And that's why we're so grateful that we have our civil engineers from our committee also on board with this. So this is great. Dennis is very excited and has been working with both James and Natasha. So this is great. Okay, Zoidel, I'm going to ask you to take a roll call vote, sir.
Dave,
Aye.
Amy, George, Cheryl, Andrew, Raquel, Leaf, Zaz, Carol, Denise, Charlene, Bob, Blake, Kathleen. That's 1400 adopted.
James, I'll let you turn off your projector so as not to blind me. Thank you. And go, Amy, would you mind popping on all the lights over there? Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, thank you guys for your presentation. Great presentation. I'll copy you on the letter. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, we have an amendment, a City Council Resolution 2617 Land Use Ordinance Amendment relating to conditional use permits. And our Water and Land Committee Chair, Raquel Ochu, will take us through this. That is the big, long with the orange cover, guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is a lot, so I'm going to condense it as best as I can. Resolution 26-17 is a resolution proposing an amendment to Chapter 21 Revised Ordinances of Honolulu 2021, the Land Use Ordinance, relating to conditional use permits. What we're basically trying to do is get DPP to, the initial purpose of it was to get DPP to take discretionary permits, such as conditional use permits, because they come as a minor and a major. Minors typically do not come to the public for review or input. That's a very dangerous situation considering that's how the gondola got approved. Nobody had input or presentation. A conditional use permit major prompts a lot of the presentation, the public inputs, the hearings, as well as environmental assessments, cultural assessments, so on and so forth. So we would like that the conditional use permit minors come in front of the community, whether it be the neighborhood board, a community association, or the appropriate group within the community that the project wants to take place, so that the community is not caught off guard by a ski resort on a mountain with no snow. So, just saying. So in this resolution, what we've passed forward, or what passed forward thus far, got a lot of back and forth within the council, and there's still a lot of steps to go, but this first rally is basically, there will be a lot of amendments and changes as we go along. So the proposed amendment has now added where the LUO would expressly provide for circumstances under DPP director to consider a previously approved conditional use permit, such as when the application contains false information, which one did, the one over there. The applicant fails to comply with conditions of the approval. Again, new information that wasn't available when the conditional use permit was approved. Again, and circumstances existing, oh, I just said that, existing at the time of the approval was not available. Or when the conditional use permit becomes detrimental to public health, safety, or welfare. The process for the DPP director's reconsideration of a previously issued conditional use permit is set forth in the DPP's administrative rules. This would also require a major conditional use permit instead of the currently required minor CUP for the agritourism use. And this is where we know we're going to go back and forth with them. And agritourism may have adverse environmental and other impacts on surrounding agricultural uses and neighboring property owners, and a major CUP may be more appropriate to address these impacts. It is not unknown that agricultural farmers, ranchers, real, legit, authentic production can be threatened by someone who wants to pretend to be a farmer and then turn into a tourism operation, where tourism now has taken over the primary use instead of ag. But we don't also want to adversely impact the genuine real farmer who's trying to do what they're supposed to be doing, and major permits could impact them. So we want to be sure that we address it in a way where we are still allowing the agribusiness tourism happen, but not impact it in a way where it takes away from the purpose of ag lands. I know that's a lot, and it's confusing because my mouth is dry. So it has passed. It's gone to DPP for review and amendments and what they want to do. And it'll come back and forth because it still has to go to Planning Commission as well. So we have a lot of time to keep providing suggestions, comments, concerns, and to be able to contribute to how this actually comes to be approved.
So my recommendation is, excuse me for jumping in, Raquel. My recommendation is because, as Raquel has explained, there's a lot of nuances here, and we're not going to solve those tonight. My recommendation to the board is to just say, send a letter to Dawn, DPP. She's already acknowledged receipt of this to the city council, and say that we support the intent of the resolution, and we'll be sending in additional comments and et cetera as they go through the process. So we're not committing ourselves to this version, but we're signaling our intent to her. I think Raquel has had some conversations with Dawn. I do want to make a big shout out to Councilmember Matt Wire. He actually started this train. And so Kelly, please tell Matt, we are so grateful. He also had a resolution in, that one did not pass, but he got the train going, and then Esther and Tommy came in, and I think a lot of that also had to do with what was going on up the hill at Gondola Boys Place. So this is a great start. This is the kind of thing we've been looking for, and we're very grateful to Councilmember Wire for getting that train up and running. And this is what came out of the council. And so my recommendation would be, so Vice Chair Chu, would you like to make a motion?
You just said it.
Well, you have to state, I can't make motions. I was making a recommendation.
Okay, I make a motion to take Chair Pahinui's recommendation word for word. That was a lot, I don't remember.
Okay, so let me restate
them
that.
Director Apuna, supporting the intent of the resolution and stating we intend to follow with commentary and suggestions.
Okay, great. So we have that. Did everyone hear that? Okay, do we have a second? Denise seconds. Board members, any conversation, discussion, community, any comments or concerns? Hearing none, we'll take roll.
Dave. Amy. George. Cheryl. Andrew. Raquel. Leaf. Zaz. Carol. Denise. Charlene. Bob. Blake. Kathleen. 1400 adopted.
Great, thank you. And we'll keep it, go ahead.
Just as a last comment, for conditional use permits or special use permits, anything outside of the already permitted use of ag land or any zone property, when they come in for these permits, they're discretionary, yeah? They're not entitled to it. They really need to come in because this is why we have a lot of our lands that are not compliant with the land use of what it's supposed to be doing and how it's now turned into all commercial activity and less agriculture. So they're just discretionary permits. They are not entitled to them, and we deserve a seat at the table to say whether that fits our community. And that is our purpose in this effort.
Thank you. Good words, good words. And thank you for taking this up at your committee. And I would ask then the next step is to start parsing it and come back to the board with some recommendations. So thank you very much, board. Okay, moving on to Dr. Fox. I love saying that.
Aloha Chair and board members, Kealoha Fox, Director for the Office of Climate Change Sustainability and Resiliency. I'm going to I think probably for the next few months, we're all going to share more about 311. So is Rex still here? I think Rex already left, but this is a great example of the use of 311. So on December 1st, we launched our new HNL 311 system. It's your app and website that you can easily report issues in the city, and the issues do go directly to our departments, and we are required to respond. So for Rex's issue, that was a great example tonight of take a picture, upload it. It's really, really fast, and we have systems in place that require us to make sure we respond. And I want to make sure I respond to the question about the data analytics from last month, because DIT did pull it for me. And then other highlights in Mayor's newsletter, Kahuku District Park's proposed renovations are listed within our February newsletter. We are celebrating both Black History Month and Mahina Olelo Hawaii. We are congratulating the Honolulu Fire Department, celebrating 175 years of service. Yes, there's a lot of plans that are in place right now to celebrate the entire department and their ongoing commitment, service, and life-giving efforts to our entire island. We want to congratulate our Ocean Safety Department's new Deputy Chief, Jimmy Barrows. I think Ocean Safety is gone, but Jimmy's been awesome. We're glad to have him in the cabinet as well. There's a new UV system protecting Kailua waters. I will talk about one more thing after, and then I have a few areas for follow-up. So last month, folks asked what's the usage data for the new 311 system. So like I said, it launched on December 1st. They pulled the data on February 2nd. So 2 months, we have 12,000 users signed up to the platform. So please do utilize it. Like I said, we do check it. We had, let's see, I have 2 waiting for reply. Streams are waiting for reply, and then the drainage ditch. So I'll be getting back to, I think 3 of you asked me about those, and then Karen asked about those too. So I do have it on the list still. I'll report back next month. We had a question for DFM and HPD about the bike path signage for motorized vehicles. Board member, I think this is your question. So your question was about the no motorized vehicle signage on the bike path. And so HPD did check into it. They have officers assigned from the District 2, that's Mililani Wahiwa North Shore substation, monitoring the North Shore bike path area. And they believe that due to the officers' presence and the inclement weather that we've recently experienced. The week and a half that they did go do those observations, George, they didn't see anything. And so they, they're saying that when staff permits, HPD will continue to monitor the area. But those are probably two of the things that maybe controlled some of the efforts, and they didn't see any violations or issue any violations. The other question, Karen, oh, hi, Karen. You asked about what the city's protocols are for when the eddy goes off. And so did check in with HPD, DTS, and our mayor's communication team. And so HPD does have plans in place to update the public and provide clear guidelines 48 to 72 hours in advance of when they get the information. Information gets posted, of course, on our websites. We'll issue news releases. We'll post it on social media across all of those channels. It's something that I can monitor as well. And then DTS still has the same plan in place from last year of making sure, or not last year, sorry, 2 years ago, to mitigate the traffic issues, rerouting Route 60 for the different times of day, and then the closure of the highway in that case was implemented by HPD for safety issues. And so they do defer to HPD when public safety is involved for big events. And those are the only updates I have. I'll come back to you with those other two ones. And then I just wanted to make sure after we get to questions, I wanted to invite Parks Committee Chair to be able to share about our Department of Parks and Recs updates for dog parks. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I asked you to ask. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Fox. It's good to see you. So I'm sharing an email from Nathan Sirota, who's the Public Information Officer for Department of Parks and Recreation. And honestly, I just got this, so I'm just going to read it real quick. Aloha North Shore Neighborhood Board members, greetings. The coming Wednesday, we'll be making an announcement about the first round of newly designated on-leash dog parks as part of the dog-friendly parks effort we announced last April. You were one of almost half of the boards who responded to this request, and now we will be more than doubling the number of city on-leash dog parks on Oahu! Exclamation point. Mahalo for your participation. I'm happy to report that all 9 of the parks you recommended for on-leash dog privileges were granted. I do have a question about this. I'm going to ask it after I read this, including Mokuleia Beach Park, Aveaveo Beach Park, Wailua District Park, Wailua Bandstand Park, Phil and Peggy Patey Kayaka Bay Beach Park, Haleiwa Ali'i Beach Park, Haleiwa Beach Park, Kawailoa Beach Park, and Sunset, they call it Sunset Point Beach Park. I've attached your letters of reference and included an advance copy of the news release announcing all of the new on-leash dog parks. Please do not broadly disseminate this news release.
Just the attachment, just the attachment.
I read that part and I was hesitant until Wednesday afternoon. Today's Tuesday. Anyway, you're the first to know. Your board was not only the first neighborhood board to respond with a response to our effort, but also the one to suggest the most new on-leash areas, exclamation point. Congratulations and mahalo again for your participation. Take care and stay healthy. Nate. So yay. So I just got this. And my question is the details, right? And I'm sure a lot of people want to know this. So I will look into this along with Chair and Dr. Fox on the details. One of the things our Parks Committee recommended were restricted hours for the dogs on leash. So with your permission, since this is just hot off the press and not even released.
Not on the press yet.
Yeah. Give us a chance to find out more and report back, and then you can talk to us with questions. But there you go.
Thanks, Denise. Oh, I just, she worked really hard on this with her committee, so I just thought it's appropriate for you to announce it. And we're safe because it's Tuesday night. I don't think anyone's going to be running to the press from this meeting to talk about it.
It's just the attachment we can't share. We're okay. It's okay. The rest.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Yes, Blake.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate everything the city and county of Honolulu is doing to serve the people of Oahu. I know in the news over the last several months, there's been a highlight of Department of Planning and Permitting using, I'll just use the word loosely, AI technologies to assist in modernizing and speeding up permitting processes. And I believe the Department of Community Services website also has a chat feature where you can just type in or even speak into your phone and it gives you answers. It just gave me an answer really quickly in case anyone needs to know about renewing their driver's license. But I was just curious if it would be possible in the next couple of months if we could hear more about how the city and county of Honolulu is utilizing advanced technologies, I guess people call it AI, in order to better serve the public and make more data available so that we understand more about things like budgets and permitting overall on the whole island. So that would be a great update, I think, because we hear a lot of state and local governments around the world utilizing technology to help their constituents. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great point and suggestion, and I'll be happy to follow up. I mean, one of the things that our entire leadership is committed to doing is modernizing the city across the board. You may not be surprised how archaic some of our systems are. Me coming from the healthcare system, I was shocked, to be honest, by how outdated some of the city technologies are doing. And that's somebody who worked in the state and the federal government as well. And I think this is a great area for investment. It is limited at this time where we are permitted and allowed to use AI. We're working on an internal AI use policy. So it's not being broadly used, but the CSD example with the satellite city halls and the driver's license with the new chatbot, they're piloting it and it's in this closed loop system. And so it's not aggregating and utilizing data from, say, major like websites and forums and stuff. It's using the information already locked within the city systems to pull from. And I'm not an expert in that area, but I think it's an area that it would be great for them to share about, because we know that wait times are often too long. They're humbug. People need to get to other things that they're doing in their life. And so if these kind of technologies can be informed by community feedback, I think they would really, really appreciate that. And I know their two leaders would be all ears. Yeah, thank you.
Denny, go ahead. I just have a question, and we haven't had a chance to talk about it at this meeting, but as everybody knows, we had a massive major flood event. Could you address what the city's response is and will be to help the community with recovery?
Yes, absolutely. So our Department of Emergency Management is always the point of the EOC, and then they deploy all of the agencies depending on the type of watch and warning that is issued. One, I hope everybody is subscribed to H&L Alerts. You can get that directly to your phone and they'll just text you updates. You can also sign up onto the app. I was getting all of the updates in real time just as much as I was honestly getting them through my emails. They're pushing the notifications pretty simultaneously. What DEM is required to do in all of these cases is they do an after action review in AAR to make sure that we can continue to be much more efficient and responsive, especially in this recent case where shelter was opened temporarily. These are the types of things that we have to work, not just with DEM, but we get like DCS involved when, for example, when shelters have to open, and then they get HPD and HFD involved too. Yeah, so they'll do an action after review. And then we're having a full cabinet meeting about 3 weeks now of constant severe weather.
Can I just follow up? So in addition to the shelters, I hope that after action review looks at city's role, and I know this has been a long-standing issue, city's role regarding streams, bridges, any kind of city function that could affect,
Absolutely.
property damage. So just, I hope and is that going to be available? And after action review, is that available?
Let me check. I don't know what the protocol is for how they aggregate the information and then share it publicly. I think, so one of the outstanding issues from last month from Karen is very timely, and folks had asked about what's the stream schedule maintenance for this area? What are the streams and when is their scheduled maintenance for 2026? The question couldn't have come at a better time last month during our January meeting. And so, yeah, to your point, these are all of they look every single department in the action after review, and then we're having a full cabinet meeting about it.
So just maybe, even if the report's not available, I mean,
Yeah.
just some report back to the community, like this is what the city's doing or can do in the future, given what we just experienced.
Yeah, so the couple of things, I was actually online I was in the DEM Biasi room the entire time. We were dealing with that, so I was able to get real-time information. They did ask people to send in damage reports, so they did do that, and I know they got some from the North Shore. Secondly, I want to thank Rep. Peruso. I actually already reached out and asked about all the stream information, knowing that question would come up tonight. And thank you, Kelly, as well. They both got back to me, so I will collate that and send that out to the board so we know I asked for the HRS and everything, so we have all of that. So thank you very much to both of you for bringing that up. And then I do want to say that a bunch of us are going to be getting together and working on our area over here and doing some work. Andy and his friend Rob, who I met tonight, and we're going to start looking at issues because we know government can't do it all. And if we can come up with some solutions to give to government, that might be community-based. So thank you. Thank you, Denise. And yeah, any information you can share would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Community questions for Dr. Fox? Leaf.
It's not a question. It's just a thank you guys very much, and go back to the mayor and thank him for that drain. They did a pretty good job. It seems to be working. So
I'm happy to hear
thank
it.
you.
Bob.
Did I read that the mayor appointed you to be the head of environmental or global warming or some special part of our city and county?
The things, yeah.
So tell us, since you're the head, that what do you do about that? How do you serve our community in that capacity?
I have two official roles and functions. So to the mayor, I serve as the chief resilience officer. So that's not only looking at the shocks and stresses to our system, but overall resiliency. That's our ability to continue to survive and thrive here for many generations to come. It's about how does our community come together. I think it's exactly what you folks do here, not only as a neighborhood board, but in every single one of the roles, the kuleana and the hats that you wear. That's resiliency for this island in my mind. And that's exactly what I'm trying to push forward through our policies, through our programs, through our initiatives, and of course, through our investments and our infrastructure. I also am the director for the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency. And so for us, it's really making sure that across all of the city agencies and departments, we recognize that climate change is happening and that we have to do much more to be able to operate as a city government and enterprise in a much more sustainable way. And moreover, we have to be able to help the public to be able to live much more sustainability, and that our policies and our actions and our programs and our investments need to really walk the walk in that way. And so that's why I'm happy to take on this role.
Thank you very much. We're gonna move on because I really want to get to Rep and I want to get to Kelly. So Kelly and Rep Peruso, can you come forward just so you're ready? Okay, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Yes, State of the City, March 18th, 6 p.m. Mission Memorial, also on TV.
Yeah. And if you can just hang back in case anybody thinks of something. Thanks. Really appreciate it. Okay, Kelly.
Aloha Chair and members of the board, Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Matt Wire's office. A couple things, you probably already know this first one, the Kamananui Agribusiness Gondola reconsideration hearing. DPP was granted the extension for them to be able to review all the testimony that they received. The Department of Transportation Services, improving school zone safety. They're going to be moving forward with improvements to expand the school zones by lowering the speed limit to 20 miles an hour and replacing the signage. These changes are going to take place at schools throughout Councilmember's district, including Wailua Elementary, Wailua High and Intermediate, Haleiwa Elementary, Sunset Beach Elementary, Laie, Kahuku Elementary, Kahuku High and Intermediate. They didn't have a definitive timeline, so we'll be able to share this as they come up. And the Wailua Agricultural Listening Session, Councilmember wanted to thank Congresswoman Jill Takuda for hosting the Ag Listening Session. Councilmember was grateful to be able to connect with the North Shore Ag community and to hear directly about the challenges that they're facing, from rising costs of production and how the general cost of living is impacting farmers. A couple of legislative updates. Bill 4. Councilmember Ko introduced Bill 4 with Councilmember Okimoto, which is strengthening the incentives to build affordable rental housing. The current subsidies and grant programs are designed to help support these projects, but the current monetary amounts are not keeping up with the rising costs of construction. Bill 4 did pass first reading in January and was referred to the Zoning and Planning Committee. And Bill 54, bus fare increase, I'm sure you already heard about this one as well. It passed third reading in the January full council, and this is going to increase the bus fares, including higher costs for monthly and annual passes, the youth pass, as well as the visitor pass, handy van rides, and an added fee for cash payments. Councilmember did vote no on this because he feels that raising the bus fare is going to place a real financial burden on working families who rely on public transportation. And then a couple updates. I think this is a kind of older one. I'm sorry, I didn't take a look at the date, but somebody had requested a crosswalk at Haleiwa and Pa'ala'a Road. DTS concluded their traffic study, but it didn't reveal any trends that would warrant a crosswalk. As part of the Haleiwa Multi-Use Path Improvement Project, DTS is proposing to install a raised crosswalk at the existing marked crosswalk fronting Haleiwa Elementary. They're also considering relocating the proposed raised crosswalk to the school's exit driveway where the campus meets Haleiwa Road. DOT does not have any objections and the feasibility is being assessed at this point. Wailua District Park Pool manager hiring was not successful this go around, but DPR is currently waiting for the next round of applicants, so they'll keep us posted. And then, Chair, I believe you are aware of this, but resident wanted me to bring to the board's attention that if we could discuss park closure hours at Haleiwa Beach Park. Currently, only the parking lot has a closure hour, but the actual park itself does not. So
I would defer to the Parks Committee on that.
Okay.
Sorry, Denise.
Sorry, they mentioned your name, that you were already, I guess, in discussions with them. So maybe we can have a discussion with that after. And that is it for me. If anyone has any questions.
Any quick questions for Kelly? And I know you got the earlier ones when Dr. Fox was up here. Any quick questions for Kelly, community? Hey, everyone's tired. See, it's good to go almost last. Everyone's too tired. Thanks, Kelly. We really appreciate your time.
For your support of Councilmember's office. We appreciate
Oh, absolutely. We love him. We really appreciate all that he does for us. He's been doing a terrific job. Please let him know that. Thank you. Okay, last but not least.
Okay, hi again. My name is Callie Bulasan. I am gonna go first instead of Hope, just for now. So again, I'm Representative Quinlan's high school intern. So I do have a few of Rep's answers to questions that I received from last meeting. First off, I know there was a concern about a crosswalk near Sunset's Rec Center. Someone was requesting it. I'm not sure an exact street or like a location, but Rep said that HDOT is currently looking into the feasibility of installing one in that area. They do have some concerns that it would lead to a ditch that is located across the rec center, but our office will keep you updated on HDOT's decision. Last neighborhood board, there was also discussion about if it would be possible to legally declare anything on Wailua's Mauka side as strictly untouchable. This is something our office is still working on, but it is overall a difficult process. A few years ago, Representative actually had introduced a resolution in an attempt to add an extra layer of preservation on Mount Ka'ala, but the departments who testified were in opposition. So there's also an issue with the zoning designation of the land, which is designated by the city and not the state. And the land is also currently zoned for agriculture. In addition, it's not really possible to rezone the ag land without doing a conservation easement, but that would require purchasing the land from all the property owners at fair market price in order to avoid lawsuits. But like I said, overall, it's a very complicated process. And also, speaking of Mount Ka'ala, there's a status update on House Bill 1881, which is the gondola ban bill that Representative had introduced. It has passed out of the Water and Land Committee and is currently waiting to be heard by the Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs Committee. Representative has sent a letter to the committee chair asking that the measure be heard. I will keep an eye out for a hearing notice and will share testimony info when that comes out. But moving on to new updates, they are all primarily in regards to Representative Quinlan's 2026 bill package. First, Quinlan's office is in the process of updating Sarah's law through HB 2589. Overall, the bill targets habitual traffic law offenders by holding them accountable. Under this bill, a fatal accident involving an unlicensed driver is a Class B felony. And if they are a repeat offender with 2 priors in 5 years, it becomes a Class A felony. It also allows the state to seize their vehicle to ensure that they stay off the road. Secondly, Representative Quinlan also introduced House Bill 1578 relating to stream maintenance, but was not able to get it through its assigned committees before the deadline last week. Despite this, he plans to continue working on proactive stream maintenance, and he would also like to extend his thanks to both the city's Department of Emergency Management and HEMA for coordinating well on Saturday and providing updates. He noticed the lots of progress made and lessons learned from the last flood that was applied this time around. Finally, the House is advancing House Bill 2049, which proposes significant restructuring of the state's conveyance tax on home sales of $2 million or more, aiming to triple taxes on ultra-luxury, often non-primary properties to fund affordable housing. Thank you, and that's all I have. I'm open for any questions to take back.
Any questions regarding your report? Very excellent report, by the way. Thank you. Yes, Blake.
Awesome report. So this is just for Representative Peruso's office as a whole. I can ask a question.
It's actually with Rep. Quinlan's
Rep.
office. I'm
Quinlan.
sorry.
Yeah.
You guys just were so cozy. I just thought you were all
Is it
together.
okay to ask just for both reps, like a question that both reps could examine? Because I know Representative Peruso and I'm sure Representative Quinlan as well have been very active on the restricted use pesticides and had a great presentation earlier this evening from the Safe Farms, Safe Food. And I was just curious about in terms of monitoring, because it sounds like air drift for the fumigants in particular is a major concern. I was just wondering, and maybe this is more of a look back or maybe a look forward, but is it possible to consider any kind of air monitoring either around the schools or along certain stretches? These maps seem to highlight some very specific areas where it's known. I guess it must be because they have to get the permits for those. And so I was just wondering if our state legislators, Representative Quinlan and Representative Peruso, could report back. And it doesn't, I know it's a long process and there's many powerful forces at play, but it would seem to me that if there was ever to be buffer regulation, that would involve some type of monitoring system down the line anyway. So why not just start approaching air quality monitoring around these hotspots? Thank you.
I will take that back.
Had their hand up over here. Anybody? Community, any questions for Rep. Quinlan? Thank you. And please let us know about 1881 so we can send in letters of support. Thank you very much. Okay, Hope, is it?
Hi, guys.
Won't break it.
My name is Hope Fuentes. I am an intern at Representative Amy Peruso's office. Today, I'd like to provide an overview of several relevant bills to our community and discuss the ongoing issue of water flow management that directly impacts our community. First off, I know Dr. Fox was talking a little bit about this. The HRS notes that in statute 46-115 that maintenance of streams, channels, stream beds, stream banks, and drainways that are on private property are those private owners' responsibility and may be enforced by the county in lieu of any work being done at the county's expense. Sorry, guys. And refusing to comply you can receive a civil penalty. So pretty much that it is your guys' responsibility to maintain stream beds, channels on private property. Next, I want to touch on an important bill that Rep. Russo has introduced this session, HB 1571. This bill will require a presentation to the neighborhood board for any project with at least 2 units and a developer's public report, which would include a verified statement in addition to any information this required by section 514B83. This bill is critical for communities such as ours, where developers often take advantage of loopholes in the system. And it ensures we protect our agricultural lands from development. This bill actually has a hearing on Thursday with the Committee on Consumer Protection and Commerce. So if you would like to support, you can submit verbal or written testimony. Turning to waterways environmental protection, there are 2 key cesspool bills that we should follow in this current session. First is HB 1618 establishes and appropriates the funds to a cesspool conversion revolving loan fund. It will be administered by the Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority to provide financial assistance, including low interest and forgivable loans, to eligible homeowners for this upgrade, conversion, or connection to cesspools. So just to summarize, our office hopes that we ensure to comply with HRS by maintaining our water channels and enforcing private or state responsibilities where appropriate, to support HB 1571 to enhance transparency and oversight for developmental projects that could impact our land, and advocating for another bill, HB 1618, to address cesspool conversion conversation and project water quality. So the water flow, like especially with this last rain, still remains a crucial issue, and property management is necessary to prevent any flooding or long-term environmental harm. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, you got Blake's earlier question about the buffer zones and air quality. So any other questions for Rep. Peruso? Not seeing a nice report. Thank you, Hope. We really appreciate it. Okay, really quick, we can get through our minutes. We have our minutes from our January meeting. Do I have a motion to accept? George makes the motion. Do we have a second? Charlene seconds. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any abstention? Any noes? Okay, we got our January minutes. And just to let you know, for the main break, they have located it. It is on the 16-inch, sorry, but it's in the existing construction lane for the paving. So hopefully it won't make your commute any worse than it already is. So I'm sorry, guys, but hopefully we'll get it done quickly. Nothing else. Thank you all for coming tonight. Mahalo. Yeah, just collect.
Okay, thank you very much.